5 races since we came back from our COVID break. Chase Elliott got things rolling with a bounty win at Charlotte, followed up by Grant Enfinger's victory at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And then Kyle Busch had a dominating run at Homestead, Miami in that 51 truck. Followed up by another 51 win. This time Brandon Jones was the pilot at Pocono. And then last week Sheldon Creed in the rain-shortened affair at Kentucky Speedway, the first career win for Creed. And when you look at that GMS stable, Michael, Creed's got the best average finish. I don't know if we'd have said that at the beginning of the season.
No, he's certainly been impressive, Vince, certainly with that win at Kentucky. But the surprising numbers there for me is Brett Moffatt. Just over a 13th place finish. That season hasn't gone like they expected. And I look for him to turn it around tonight. I think he's going to be really strong, Regan, on this racetrack. And speaking of the racetrack, look at the Gander Outdoors track description. It's 1.5 miles in length, but that doesn't tell the story. Look at that darker traction compound up high. Can you stick on the bottom? That was the key to Sheldon Creed getting a win last week. He could run down lower than the rest of the competitors. And just think about this, Regan. You come rocketing off turn 4 with that 24 degrees of banking. You go down to turn 1 and 2, and it's flatter. That'll get your attention. It's hard to get through turns 1 and 2.
It'll definitely get your attention. And sometimes it almost fools you when you get to that corner because of all that speed that you carry. They're going to have to do this for 167 laps tonight. They're going to have to get it right for all of those laps. You don't want to make a mistake. 250 miles. Our stage lengths, Michael, are going to be 40 laps and 87 laps with a pit window of 50 to 55. That means we could see green flag pit stops at the end of this race, perhaps.
And we'll also see strategy, I think, Regan, because there's good grip in these Goodyear tires, so these guys could play the strategy game when we get into that final stage.
Well, and you see the starting lineup with Creed and Enfinger on the front row, Austin Hill, Kyle Busch back in row 2. It was a blind draw, so Creed gets the win at Kentucky, and then it's a nice little reward. Yeah, you get a start on the pole. It would be nice, probably some of those guys would think, hey, let's start where we finished last time. Some would agree with that, some not, but it's a blind draw, and by the luck of it, Creed will start up front.
Yeah, and there's some great competitors back in the field. We see Johnny Sauter there, Angela Ruck. Ross Chastain will be racing toward the front. I cannot wait to watch how, I love the blind draw. I love how the field is so mixed up, and when you go racing, you don't know who the favorite is. Who's it going to be tonight?
Yeah, the furthest back a winner has started here at Texas. Todd Bodine started 22nd. Ross Chastain starts 24th tonight, so maybe Chastain can set a new standard for the deepest winner in the field. A couple of trucks carrying onboard cameras for us tonight.
Yeah, let's hop on the United Rentals truck for Austin Hill, really fast on the big tracks. We talked about that earlier. He's going to come off row 2. I would not be surprised if he isn't in contention late to win this race. Great onboard cameras. I love Fox Sports. I love how we're able to bring these races to NASCAR fans, and tonight's going to be a fun one.
Well, and another truck that's going to give us a good ride is that of Grant Enfinger. Starts second. He's up front already. He's got a clear track in front of him. Wants to keep it that way all night long. 2 wins this year already. One of them on a 1.5 mile racetrack, Michael. Look for him to be one of the guys to beat tonight.
Coming back with the start of the race from Texas Motor Speedway. Stay with us. Pace laps continuing here at Texas Motor Speedway for the Gander Trucks, getting ready to go green momentarily. How about a pick for a win, Mike?
Kyle Busch is what everybody else said, right?
Well, I think that'd be a safe pick, but
Yeah.
you don't ever go the safe route.
Never have, and I'm going to go with Brett Moffatt. I talked earlier about how disappointing of a season it's been for the driver of that number 23 Chevrolet. Moffatt turns all that around tonight and goes to victory lane. Regan,
Well,
let's hear what kind of long shot you're going to throw out there for us.
I got to tell you, if we're talking safe picks, it's my first time sitting here with you guys. I'm going to take Kyle Busch if you're going to leave him here for me. Why not? I just told you the only way he loses this race tonight is if he beats himself or they have some sort of a mistake. I just don't see it happening. Kyle Busch is too good, and he is extra motivated with what happened in that Xfinity race a little bit earlier today and the penalty taking the win from him there.
Well, I'm going to go with the guy lined up right next to him, Austin Hill. Austin's finished runner-up a couple of times this season. Remember, he won 4 times last year. Still trying to get that first win this season. On the mile and a half, he scored the most points this season. I think tonight is the night that Austin Hill gets the win in Texas. How about you, Alan? Who are you going with?
And I'm picking a driver who's sneaky fast and nearly won here before, the number 38 of Todd Gilliland. You're looking at him right there. Looks fast tonight, guys.
Man, I like these picks. I think that's a great choice, Alan. He's been so steady and getting stronger week in and week out. That Love's truck is going to be strong tonight.
Remember, Gilliland was about to win here in 2018 and ran out of fuel on the final lap, and Justin Haley came through and got the win. You see the most wins at Texas Motor Speedway, led by our friend Todd Bodine, won here 6 times. Johnny Sauter, 5 wins, and not one of us picked Johnny.
I'm excited to see what Johnny can do. 21st starting position. He's got his work cut out for him to get through this field. I think he's going to be exciting to watch here in just a minute.
And think, Regan, about last week at Kentucky, how fast Matt Crafton was. He had a lot of pace. He looked like he could have a victory in Kentucky. Can he parlay that into speed here tonight in Texas? Obviously, he's had success here before.
Yeah, the ThorSport trucks have had it. I mean, Sauter's had some good runs this season. Ben Rhodes was second last week at Kentucky. Crafton was third, so maybe those ThorSport trucks do break through and get that win tonight.
Regan, tell the folks at home what these drivers are thinking. They're shaking those trucks around, getting those tires warmed up. They know they're going to go down into turn 1 at 170, 80 miles an hour. Nerves have to be right on the forefront right this moment.
Most nervous part of the race right here. They don't know how their truck's going to respond as it gets into the banking for the first time. Is it going to do exactly what they want? Is it going to grip up? And what is that traction compound that's on the racetrack going to feel like for those trucks that are in the outside line? A lot of nerves right now.
Yeah, remember last week we talked about the entry to turn 3 at Kentucky. Well, the tricky part here at Texas is the entry to turn 1. They'll get to it in a moment because we are green at Texas. Creed and Infinger still side by side as they hit the backstretch.
I love hearing those trucks thunder off turn 2. You can see Todd Gilliland in that blue and yellow truck looking low, didn't make it work, but these guys look like they've got pretty good grip. The last couple of weeks, these trucks have been all over the place, slipping and sliding. That looked like a pretty good first lap.
And you see, as soon as Sheldon Creed was able to clear and get the lead, he got back down to the bottom almost immediately. This lap all the way on the bottom of the racetrack, not in the traction compound at all, while we see Kyle Busch, who had some experience in it earlier today in the Xfinity race, he's up there working it in already.
And that's Zane Smith in the 21 that's come in right behind Kyle in that 4th spot with Austin Hill rounding out the top 5. And there's Moffatt in the orange and white 23.
Whoa.
In 6th
Infinger must have gotten loose there because Kyle hops on him, grabs that 2nd spot, and you can see he's going to be pushed to the bottom of the track, to the outside of the track.
I talked to Kyle this week about the success with these trucks, and he said the key is keeping them wound up, and he feels like that's where his advantage is, just the experience, the amount of races that he's run, the ability he has to keep the truck wound up is an advantage that some of the veteran drivers might have over some of the younger guys that are less experienced and have that ability.
I want to tell you, there's no one more wound up than Brett Moffatt in that 23 truck. I talked to him this week. He said, we got to go. And you can see, Regan, early in this race, he's got good pace running up inside the top 5.
He has good pace, and what I really like out of all these guys right now, you see the space between the trucks. They're cutting each other a little bit of slack right now, knowing that if they get too close, it could pull the truck next to them around and make them get sideways. A little bit of give and take until they really feel their vehicles out and see what they've got for the rest of the race.
Well, and they've also probably watched the replays of the last two races where they didn't even get their water hot before they were running over each other and into the wall. So this is a great start to a race tonight.
We're setting records right now.
Yeah, history says an early caution here at Texas, but so far 5 good clean ones. Hope it didn't jinx him as Enfinger tries to make his move back into position as he and Brett Moffatt are fighting for 4th. Moffatt going to the bottom.
Oh, good strong entry into turn 3 for Moffatt. Leaned on that banking I was talking about. Winding these engines up, coming down the front straightaway, running 180, 85 miles an hour. Now watch the entry to turn 1 here. It's flatter. These trucks will wiggle around. This is a difficult turn.
Moffatt, the former series champion, won it all in 2018. Had 4 top 5s at this point last year. Only 1 this season. Mike, what do you think's been the problem for that 23?
I don't understand. New crew chief. He's got a new communications he has to learn. But he's such a talented racer. You would assume Brett would be able to bridge the gap between he and his crew chief, Chad Norris. But it just hasn't happened yet. Tonight could be great, though, for this team. Brett likes the big tracks. He likes running hard. And tonight he's off to a good start.
Yeah, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. All globbed together there with Matt Crafton in that neon yellow 88 coming up in there trying to make it into the top 10. Check in with Alan.
Good start for Sheldon Creed in the 2 truck right there. The only notes he's getting on the radio is where is the 51 of Kyle Busch running. Looks like he's going to have to get some notes about where the 21 is running as well, but they're telling Sheldon Creed in the 2 truck exactly where Kyle Busch in the 51 is putting his tires. Is it on the dark part of the track or that lower part? You can see there the difference. That's what they want Sheldon to know so he can adjust how he's driving.
And Regan, you can attest to this. It's a real compliment to what Zane Smith is doing in that 21 truck as he shoots to the bottom on the inside of Kyle Busch. When Kyle went low, Zane went high. Then the opposite on the other end of the racetrack. Oh, sideways for Creed, and there goes Busch for the lead.
Kyle in front, and Zane Smith takes the position from Creed as well. It only takes a moment, doesn't it? And it's that momentum that we talked about with Kyle feeling like that's kind of a key to his success. You lose that momentum for just a split second, and it cost you.
Well, we saw it right there. It cost him Sheldon Creed 2 positions as it was. Zane Smith right now, early on in this race, and looks like we have a little bit more of a problem right now for Sheldon Creed.
Flat right rear, we're being told, for the 2 truck of Creed. So a bad break for Sheldon Creed, last week's winner at Kentucky, and our pole starter here tonight.
Had a strong truck, but we saw him get loose off turn 4 right here. That's when the tire goes down, and you can see Kyle and both Zane Smith hop on him, and now Creed to pit road. You can see that right rear too, Regan. It's definitely low.
I was going to say that happened almost instantly, so you don't want to speculate. Perhaps maybe he ran something over, or maybe, Alan, you got more for us on that.
Yeah, they're just telling him not to speed right now. Tough start for last week's winner, but they're going to change right side tires. Like you said, the right rear tire down. They're going to change right side tires and get him back out on the track, guys.
You know, Vince, if you can have a flat right rear at a place like Texas with all the throttle that we see and not crash, that's a great, great job by that young racer.
Well, and you saw as loose as he got after that tire went down, almost caught up Kyle Busch, who was right behind him. Could have been a big incident, but Kyle avoided it. He has the lead, but Zane Smith closely in tow. Gander RV Trucks from Texas Motor Speedway with Zane Smith in the lead, being challenged by Kyle Busch. Now Sheldon Creed from the pole led the first 7 laps and then had the right rear go down. You see it, and of course he had a big save, almost caught up Kyle in that save, but Busch avoided him. And then a nice little move by Zane Smith to get by Kyle Busch for the lead, as you watch Zane as he is out front, Kyle close behind.
How many people you think's just driven up there and passed Kyle Busch, Regan? That doesn't happen very often. Zane Smith, very impressive early in the going. Let's see how he took the lead. It looked as if Kyle thought he would go low and block, but there was just so much momentum on the high side for that 21 truck of Smith. Around he went.
Yeah, and I think Kyle, maybe a little give and take right there. Maybe a veteran move by Kyle to say, let me see where your truck is better than mine right now. I want to follow you and see what I'm going to have to do and how I'm going to have to adjust to make my truck the faster truck later on in this race. But for Zane Smith out front to pass Kyle Busch, no matter how it happens, he's got to have a smile on his face. That is a big vote of confidence.
And if I'm at home and my guy is Zane Smith, I'm going to have a La Paz margarita, because he just passed Kyle Busch, the greatest truck racer ever, and he is doing a great job behind the wheel of that number 21 truck.
Coming up on the rear of Cody Robaugh there in that 9 truck. Robaugh's had a couple of tough weeks. Accidents have taken him out each of the last 2. So he's, Kyle saves it. Got a big wiggle. Radio from the 51 team of Kyle Busch.
And if he's wide open down there, 3 and 4 on the bottom like that, he's good. I ain't got that.
That's impressive that Kyle was able to point out to his team that Zane Smith was doing something that Kyle Busch can't do. That just tells you how good this kid has been ever since he showed up in NASCAR. I've just been impressed by Zane Smith. A big 3-wide pass at Charlotte. You remember that move, Vince? How much fun has this kid been to watch?
Zane Smith 6th in the point standings. He had that stage win at Kentucky last week, 4 top 10s this season. He has indeed been impressive, and he's having another strong night early here at Texas Motor Speedway out front.
You know, something I like that Zane has done here, when he got past Kyle, he did it on the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's moved up the racetrack for a few laps, run some laps up there to see what his truck is like. Then he goes back to the bottom occasionally. So he's still moving around. Even though he's got the lead, he's moving around trying to figure out where his truck is best. And we saw Kyle Busch a couple laps ago get very loose in turn 3. We just got to report that race truck is extremely loose for him right now from the driver on the radio. So look for them to maybe make some adjustments for him in a little bit.
Sunset locally, Texas Motor Speedway, not till a little after 8:30. That's 9:30 Eastern, so we've got a while. So some of the track is in the sun, some of it is in the shade. How does that impact the track, especially with this traction compound that's down?
That's a great question. You've got so much to worry about now. You've got sun and shade on the track itself, meaning the traction compound, the regular asphalt, but then you've got a different line that you got to worry about too. So a lot for these drivers to go through. The truck transitions, as it hits those different spots, it does feel different in different areas. You might be a little bit too loose or a little too tight coming off of turn 2. The exact opposite at the other end of the racetrack in turn 4 because of that shade.
Teammates from GMS, Brett Moffatt in the 23. That's Tyler Ankrum right behind him.
I love Ankrum. I mean, he showed up 18 years old, just like a lot of these kids do these days, Regan, just ready to race, and he knows how to wheel that truck. Got a big win a year ago on 1.5 miles, and certainly knows how to get it done on the bigger tracks.
Oh, and Jordan Anderson looked like he didn't realize that Moffatt was going down below and almost collected him, and it allows Ankrum to get past Moffatt.
Well, we see that momentum that we keep talking about. Right there is an exact visual as to what happens when you do have to check up just a little bit. Now all of a sudden he's lost over a second or close to a second, it looks like right there.
How much is the draft in play here?
It's big down the straightaways. You know, that's why you see the drivers taking different lines in the corners, Vince, because you use that draft on the straightaway, it's your friend, because you're getting a free tow off the truck ahead of you. But then when you get down to the corner, Regan, you want to go into a different lane so you get some air onto your nose, help it stick better. So it's a catch-22. You have to use it for both good and bad, and it's tough to deal with.
How about Matt Crafton in that 88 truck, Alan? He's running 8th.
Yeah, he's up 7 spots already early in this race after a good run last week. Remember, they're in a tough points position, and we saw crew chief Junior Joyner make a strategy call last week where he actually punted on stage points for the first stage to set them up for a better finish. I talked to him earlier today, and he said they would consider doing that again. Remember, if you win, you're automatically in the playoff, or you can point your way in. Crew Chief Jr. Joyner says he is still chasing that checkered flag.
Well, it's been a long time for Crafton, almost 3 years since he last won. Of course, his most recent win was at Eldora. Been even longer since he won on the pavement, but Crafton has shown speed, and as Alan mentioned, was a top 5 finisher last week at Kentucky, finished 3rd. We've seen promise on occasion from Crafton, but haven't seen him challenge for the win in quite some time. Zane Smith stealing the show right now. He's the leader at Texas. Zane Smith out front. There's his teammate in that 24 truck, Justin Haley, former Texas winner. Grant Enfinger right behind him in the 98. Enfinger's won a couple of times this season. They are running 9th and 10th.
Justin Haley fresh off of 8th place finish in the Xfinity race earlier today, so getting a second workout for the day in for Justin Haley right now on a hot day in Texas.
Yeah, we've talked about how hot it is. I don't know about running one right back, but these guys are up to the task. They hydrate, they work out, they're ready for any challenge that lies ahead. And you can see Haley's done a nice job of moving up. There's our double dippers, guys that are running both affairs today.
Remember, Kyle Busch crossed the finish line first in that Xfinity Series race, but failed post-race tech. The left rear of that 54 car too low, and the victory was awarded to Austin Cindric, who has now won 3 in a row.
That's amazing. He's risen to the point of, in the Xfinity Series, being maybe the favorite to win the championship.
You know, I love something we're seeing right here on Grant Enfinger's truck right now. As you look at the way that they put this traction compound down, and Justin Haley's going to make me look like a fool for saying this at the moment because he went to the low side, but it opened up 2 opportunities. One for a guy to go to the bottom, another for the guy to go to the top and still get that clean air on the nose of their truck, which, as Michael said a little bit earlier, is so important. Right here, we'll see Grant do this. He goes all the way to the white line of the racetrack, and now he's got that clean air, so he can still get a decent run off the corner and not have to worry about that truck getting out of control.
If you're a fan of the Truck Series and you watch the last couple of races, you're saying, why haven't they crashed yet? because that's all we saw early in the going, both at Pocono and Kentucky. But nice job by the drivers tonight here in Texas. We talked about how tough this track is. Kyle Busch has driven around Zane Smith back to the lead and having to work his way through some pretty tight traffic there, but great job by these racers.
And there you see, just didn't even touch him. No contact there, but just the air created that two to get loose, and then the pass for the lead with Kyle getting past Zane Smith.
And that was a big moment for Sheldon Creed because he's 2 laps down, Regan. If he could have made that pass, got back to 1 lap down, he could get back in contention. But right now, he's going to be in a bit of a bind.
And unfortunately, he's probably going to have to take the wave around here on this caution in a moment and at the end of the stage. And I don't know that he can make it to the end of the next stage based on how early he's already had to pit.
Yeah, 3 laps remaining here in stage 1. We've been green since the drop of the green. In fact, this is the longest green flag stretch to start a race at Texas since they reconfigured it. I mean, it almost always we have an early yellow here at Texas, but it has been clean and green. A couple of almost yellows,
sure,
but so far green the whole way.
There's that 2 truck of Creed. He runs a couple laps down, back in the 30th position. Isn't that NASCAR, Regan? Checkered flag last week. Oh, you're running 30th, bud. You got to get with it here.
It is the most humbling sport that there is.
2 laps remaining here in stage 1, so the pits are closed as you look at Kyle Busch in the 51 leading the way. Sheldon Creed led the first 7 laps from the pole, and then Zane Smith took over, led 22.
We saw
Kyle Busch has now been out front for 9.
Now Kyle gets on Angela Ruck there to the inside, going to put her a lap down, another lap down, and that's Cody Rohbal right behind Kyle in that orange truck. He's just glad that there wasn't any early cautions because the last 2 weeks he's been the early caution.
There's Stuart Friesen, still outside the playoff cut line, needing a good result tonight.
And no speed again, Vince. I'm really surprised. There just hasn't been the pace out of that 52 truck, although he wins dirt races about every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, struggling in the truck.
No struggle for Kyle Busch. He's the stage 1 winner here at Texas Motor Speedway. Zane Smith, Tyler Ankrum, Ben Rhodes, Brett Moffatt rounding out the top 5. for our championship contenders. The points earned during stage 1. Taking out Kyle Busch and Justin Haley from that top 10. And how about some radio from the 88 of Matt Crafton?
Ice bags at least. Hot without air. Copy the ice bags. Really need to keep an eye on those volts. If it stays 11.5, Jay, we don't have to change it now. But if it's like around 10 right now, we're done. We'll have to change it now and later. Between 11 and 11.5 for now.
Sounds like alternator issues there. Regan, how tough is that on a hot day in Texas?
Well, that's extremely tough because that means he will not have any fans for the rest of this race or until they get that problem figured out.
Well, and when it's 90 degrees outside and the heat that you feel in that cockpit, that's not the time to have that problem. Alan?
And that's Brett Moffatt there getting 4 tires, and an adjustment for Brett Moffatt, trying to really get some better results that he's been used to here. Previous winner in the series, previous champion, as he gets 4 tires and an adjustment on the 23 truck. Further on down pit road, we saw his teammate Zane Smith lead a lot of laps there up on top, having trouble there on his pit stall, needed an adjustment. In the middle of the field right there, leader Kyle Busch, he spent much of that time on the splitter. He needed an adjustment and some 4 tires. And on the bottom, 99, Ben Rhodes, just a little too tight, wants that track position, thinks he'll be fine once he gets it.
You saw Kyle Busch barely getting the edge on Zane Smith as they exited pit road. Or actually, that was the 18 of Christian Eckus. So Busch's teammate. Tight corners on pit road. Don't know about you, but I've been jonesing for some baseball. And next week, Fox Saturday Baseball is back. It's the Cubs clashing with the Brewers at 1 o'clock, the Dodgers and the Giants at 4, and then the Yankees facing the World Series champion Nationals at 7. Celebrate the return of baseball, a special triple header next Saturday, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. We talked about the heat here in Texas, 90 degrees still at this hour, and Grant Enfinger putting some ice bags in his suit.
Look at his face. You can see he looks like he's on fire. And you can see issues for the 88 truck. We talked about his battery issues, and he couldn't run his cooling fans, Regan alluded to. The team has decided to take this stage break, switch out batteries. That way they can ensure, they think, making it to the finish without another issue, gaining that track position back.
Unfortunately for Matt, though, they're not probably going to let him turn those fans back on inside of that truck for fear that it'll drain those batteries until they know why exactly that problem happened.
Crafton can't afford problems considering where he sits in the playoff standings. Back to green, and it is stage 2 with Kyle Busch on the inside and Christian Eckus in that 18 truck outside. Like we had a smoker back in the deeper portion of the field. That was the 44 of Natalie Decker.
Look at that run on the outside for Eckus. Looks like he's got some strong momentum off turn 2. He's going to be able to get ahead of Kyle Busch going to 3.
Side by side for the lead. Eckus on the outside and Kyle Busch on the bottom.
Nice run for Eckus. He needs that momentum. He needs a great run here tonight. When you go up toe-to-toe with Kyle Busch in the same type of truck, you can get that lead. That's going to impress the boss, isn't it, Regan?
Well, it's certainly going to impress the boss as we see him get just a little bit high up the racetrack right there and lose some ground to Kyle Busch. But now what Christian needs to do, he needs to get behind Kyle, follow him, and learn exactly what Kyle does at every moment on the racetrack. As you said, Michael, he knows he's got the same race truck.
Look at Todd Gill in that blue 38 truck, and here comes Moffatt swinging around the outside. A lot of fast trucks here early, guys that really need some good runs, and they're getting them early.
Kyle was telling me this week that there haven't been a lot of occasions this season where one of his KBM trucks have been right behind him in the course of a race for them to learn in those situations. But this is certainly one of those opportunities for Christian Eckus as he runs behind Kyle Busch first and second. There's Moffatt in the 23, a little further back. Moffat's in 4th.
Ben Rhodes, good strong run for him early. And there's, looking to the bottom in the black truck, that's Zane Smith going for the top 5 spot on Rhodes. You can see he's on the bottom. Can he negotiate through this lap traffic and hold that spot? No.
Smith led 22 laps in stage 1 and pitted at the end of stage 1 in 2nd place behind Kyle, but they had some issues, a slow stop, and came out 5th.
So frustrating as a driver when that happens too, because you know that it might take you this entire run to make those positions back up on the racetrack.
Watch Stuart Friesen. This is crazy loose. A couple of trucks ahead. And away he goes up top. How much does that get your attention, Regan?
Well, I think that the loose would get your attention, and then when you get as far up the racetrack as he did right there, that would certainly get my attention.
Wow, look at this gaggle. The 98 of Enfinger. It's back there in the 14th spot, so a lot of traffic midway back through the pack. You saw the 2 of Sheldon Creed. Remember Creed had that tire go down earlier, and he's a couple of laps down. Started from the pole.
A lot of speed in that 2 truck. Led early, like you mentioned, Vince, but he's in a bind. Going to need some cautions. We haven't seen any cautions tonight. He's going to need them to get back in contention.
Ben Rhodes sporty in that 99 truck. He is 5th with Zane Smith right behind him. And there's the 26 of Tyler Ankrum, series winner last season. Early laps of stage 2. What do you say we do a McDonald's crank it up?
gives you a good feel for the speed, doesn't it, Vince?
Absolutely.
These guys are just all over the throttle down in these corners, barely lifting off the gas.
Hey, are you surprised here that Christian Eckus isn't trying to just mirror the line that Kyle Busch is running?
No, I wouldn't. Regan, I'd love to hear your opinion, but I would move around. I would see if there's anything. I would watch Kyle closely, but then I would see if there's anything I could do differently that would allow me to gain on him.
Yeah, and I think Christian needs to move around. He needs to know what his truck can do in different spots on the racetrack. And you got to remember the air that's coming off and the wake that is coming off of Kyle Busch's truck, that disrupts him even back where he is right there. So he needs to try and find different areas that he can get that clean air on his truck if he's going to have any chance to catch back up to him there.
And a lot of times, Vince, you wonder if you have a truck that's going to be better after 10, 15, 20 laps. So Christian's in a great spot to be able to follow and learn, but he's also feeling his truck out so he can tell his crew what he needs to be good in the longer run.
There's Brett Moffatt in the 23. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th right there with the 38 of Todd Gilliland. Actually, Moffatt moves into that 3rd spot, with Gilliland 4th and Smith 5th. Stage 2 for the Gander Trucks at Texas Motor Speedway. First caution of the night other than that stage break. Johnny Sauter, who was running just inside the top 10, a 5-time winner here at Texas.
Little smoke out of that truck. Seems like maybe you can see it out of the tailpipes, Regan. That generally means a broken valve, something in the engine has gone awry.
Whatever has broken, when the smoke is coming out the tailpipes, your day is pretty much over, unfortunately for Johnny.
As Kenny Schrader would say, something really important in there broke. That's about as deep as race car drivers need to go.
Well, let's listen to some radio from that 13 team.
We were going to win this race tonight. I'm telling you.
Well, you heard Johnny Sauter indicating he felt like he had a truck capable of winning, but it has blown up, and that is a big blow to Sauter. Remember, I told you minutes ago that he was on the playoff bubble coming into this race in 10th position out of the 10 that will make the playoffs. 14 points to the good, so it's going to be a tough finish for Sauter, obviously, and be harmful to his standings in the playoffs picture.
And Ben, I'm telling you, when I look at that playoff bubble, there's drivers I know thinks they're going to win the championship, and right now they're outside the top 10 trying to get their way into the playoffs. It's going to be really, really tough as you look. I think of Derrick Krauss. He's inside the top 10. He's got a really fast truck tonight. He's a guy that I think has momentum. He can climb up inside that top 10. But what about Matt Crafton? It's been a bit of a struggle. He's got some speed tonight. He has issues with his alternator. I think there's so many great stories there, including Stuart Friesen, who just hasn't had any pace so far this year.
You know, I spoke to Johnny earlier today, and he was extremely excited about this race. Said they had found some stuff setup-wise last week that they were pumped up about, and he felt like this was the kind of place where they could maybe get a win or at least get up there and challenge Kyle Busch. You heard it in his voice right there. And right prior to that caution coming out, I just looked at the scoring monitor. He was up to 9th position, was making a nice run towards the front of the pack. So, man, that is not going to be good. And as you guys talk about the points, it's got to be nervous time based on how those points are right now.
Yeah, I think there have been some positive signs from that 13 camp this year. 3 top 5 finishes, but they've been under the radar a little bit. No question, though, tonight's result will hurt them in the playoff standings. As you look at our Xfinity fastest lap of the race so far, and Zane Smith and Kyle Busch, the 2 front runners up there. No surprise, as they have combined to lead 55 of the laps so far this evening. There's a good look at Zane Smith. He's been impressive, hasn't he?
He has. He's been fun to watch. You remember the big move he made at Charlotte, 3 wide to grab the lead, but just week in and week out, a kid that shows up and you just, since day one, you say, okay, he gets it. Some guys, it takes a bit of a learning curve to come from the late models or the Legends cars where they start to get in these big tracks. Hey, we got some takers in the back of the field. I like strategy here, Regan. Pit now and stay out at the stage break, trying to get some of that track position.
Well, and in particular, 2 of the trucks that we see pitting right now, Austin Hill and Grant Enfinger, we were talking on the break about how they were struggling tonight. They had gone backwards in a hurry, and 2 trucks that we expected to see way further to the front, and major adjustments going on right here on the Austin Hill truck.
No tires, as you can see. That on the other hand, the 98 of Enfinger, he's chosen to change tires, differing strategies. I like all these plays. If you're not up front contending with Kyle Busch, do something different than the leader and try to use your track position later.
Yeah, we haven't seen Austin Hill's 16 truck be this far off, I don't think, all season long. With some big swings at it there by Scott Zipadelli. Hey, live tomorrow, the NHRA returns to Fox, where the Warriors of the Drag Strip battle at the Summer Nationals in Indianapolis. Catch all the action tomorrow. Begins at noon Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Used to sell snow cones as a kid at the drags.
Yeah, those drags will melt them down too, won't they? Wow, how much power do those things make? A lot.
The 98 of Grant Enfinger has come back to pit road with Tim Duggar on the back.
How about that? Signs of a good time. Duggar's new EP. He can flat belt it out and is a huge NASCAR fan. He's tuned in right now, I guarantee you, just enjoying every minute. Hoping Grant Enfinger, who won with Duggar on the trunk. Remember that, Vince?
Yep.
I think at Atlanta, Duggar was on the back.
You know, it's been interesting. Enfinger's got a couple of wins this season, but they're the only 2 top 10s he has. I mean, he hasn't really run up in the front other than those 2 races in which he won. Hey, tonight Sheldon Creed started from the pole. Last week's winner at Kentucky had a tire issue early and 2 laps down, hasn't been able to get back on lead lap.
Yeah, and this caution really wasn't the best thing in the world for Sheldon. When we think about the last stage break, Vince, he did not stay out right there because he needed fuel and tires, just like everybody else did at that point. He had run roughly 30 laps at that point, so he couldn't go that much further, but he could have made it to this caution that happened right here. So that's like throwing salt into the wound for the crew chief. He makes what he thinks is the right call. If he could be a mind reader, obviously he'd do it differently now, but unfortunately he makes what he thinks is the right call. That caution comes out that was within their window to where he could have been 1 lap down, which then makes him eligible for the wave round. Now he's 2 laps down still.
But they've re-racked and they pitted there, got tires, got gas. So if they could get a quick caution, or excuse me, if he makes it to the stage break, he'll stay out then and get 1 back. And if he's fast, when he gets 1 lap down, he's going to get the free pass. He's going to get back in contention. I've been watching his lap times. Hope things work out so we can see if Sheldon can overcome the early issues.
Yeah, when we look at the trucks that are 1 lap down, Michael, it should not be very difficult for him to put himself in position on that final stage.
Yeah, crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz definitely has given Creed a fast truck again tonight. Radio from the Rowdy camp in the 51 truck.
Do you have any balance issues in 3 and 4 at all?
I feel pretty good at 3 and 4 right now. I was loose the run before.
All right, it's cooling off like big time. I don't know if it's just because the sun's behind the grandstands here.
Yeah, 10-4. We still got about probably 25% of the corner left here in turn 2. That's sun. About 15%, I guess, in 3. So it's going to change here.
All right, that's where I'm going to need your help on what you're going to need when this racetrack gets shaded up all the way, okay?
Yeah, what they're talking about right now is as that shade continues to pick up, as the temperatures continue to cool down, Danny Stockman wants to know exactly which direction that truck's starting to go, so he knows how to make the perfect adjustment. We hear him say he was loose the first run. It's a little tighter this run, so are they anticipating this track to continue to get tighter? Kyle's going to have to let him know that because I'm sure they made an adjustment for that loose the first run. The other thing I heard there was Kyle Busch say it's pretty good right now. Pretty good right now might not be what's good in another hour or so when this race ends.
And I also heard the crew chief say it's cooling off mightily. I bet those drivers are saying, my butt. It's not cool out here at all. It's still hot inside those race vehicles.
95 to 85 is not a lot difference in that race truck.
When you see Grant Enfinger leaving pit road again, issues for that 98. Let's check in with Alan.
Yeah, we've seen him pit multiple times now. They actually had put it up on a jack stand. They had to tighten something underneath the left front. Something was loose there. They actually added some stagger, but they're having to come in multiple times to try to fix it. Really leaning on those. Remember, he has multiple wins this season, has no issues about making the playoffs. So just trying to fix the issue and get to the end of the race right now.
A couple of tough breaks for that Thorsport camp. Johnny Sauter, engine failure, and he is done for the night, and that is what has brought out this caution. And there, Enfinger, you saw and heard from Alan Cavana, multiple trips to pit road, but still on the lead lap. Back to green with a couple of KBM trucks up front. Kyle Busch on the bottom and Christian Eckus up top.
A couple of GMS trucks right behind them, trying to search down the lead. You see Brett Moffatt with a great restart there, right on the back bumper of Kyle Busch.
Ben Rhodes third in line on the inside, swings up top. Gets behind Eckus and puts Moffatt by himself on the bottom. It's like Ankrum going to go down, maybe give the teammate a little help.
Look at that Blue truck number 19, Derrick Krauss, so impressive. Really great run for the Napa truck. You can see he's there on the inside of Tyler Ankrum trying to grab that spot. Dives low on the track and good momentum into the corner.
Ben Rhodes in the 99 truck right behind Kyle Busch.
Battle for the lead, Vince.
Eckus on the inside challenging the boss. Can he make it stick? Can't quite clear the 51. Will he get it coming off the corner? Yes, barely.
Nothing more intimidating than the boss being right on your bumper, pushing you down the front straightaway there, but also nothing better for Christian Eckus than to make that move and complete that pass.
How great of a feeling must that be for that young man, taking the boss down? He's had a lot of pressure on him, trying to get to victory lane, win races close at Pocono, and he's out front again tonight in Texas.
The truck that Eckus is driving tonight is actually the truck that Kyle Busch won with here last year, and also Greg Biffle drove to his victory last summer here at Texas. So Alan, those KBM trucks singing along pretty good right now.
Yeah, they are. We're seeing the best of Kyle Busch Motorsports right now. You just mentioned that truck, the 18, has won the last 2 races here. The 51 truck is brand new. This is Kyle Busch's last run here this year in the Truck Series, so they're trying to learn all they can, so he has that first-hand knowledge to give it to his young drivers like Christian Eckus. Right now, Christian Eckus has plenty of that going on.
Here comes Zane, though, Alan. That 21, he's been impressive tonight, all year long, doing a great job, and he's inside of Brett Moffatt trying to grab that spot.
I think what's most impressive about Zane Smith's truck is the fact that he can do it on the bottom, and he's been completing passes on the bottom when other guys aren't able to do that. We see him right now trying to get a side draft right there off of Brett Moffatt so he can maybe get a little better run through 3 and 4 here.
Michael, you talked about Moffatt at the beginning of the show, and I think this is one of the stronger runs we've seen out of the 23, regularly in the top 5 tonight.
Yeah, and we need this too. You know, if you're Brett Moffatt and that team,
caution is out.
Caution on the speedway. Jordan Anderson around in that 3 truck.
Pretty good contact there on the left side. Well, it's been a tough go for Jordan Anderson this season.
This is going to be a chance for some strategy to play itself out here, Regan. If you're outside the top 10, you don't think you can get stage points, you're going to pit. And you're going to get your tires and your service and stay out so that you're ready to go for the final stage. It'll be interesting to see who takes advantage of this.
There you see the tail end of that incident involving Anderson. Of course, Jordan Anderson finished a close second at their season opener at Daytona, and what a highlight of the year that was for him. But since then, there have been very few highlights. It's been a tough go for that 3 cam.
And if you're Kyle Busch, that's one of the trucks I think that'll pit, because he's not racing for a championship, he's racing for a victory. It's a bit of an advantage for him in this situation because he can come now, get his tires and gas, and when everybody else that is racing for the championship in the Truck Series and needs those valuable stage points, when they stay out during this caution, he will pit and then restart up front.
Yeah, and that's gonna really change this race and some of the outcome of this race. I do believe when we look at it at the end of this thing, Kyle is going to have that track position now for the rest of the event. The other guys maybe not, so depending on what happens when they do make their pit stop.
But what I love is there's some guys that's got his number tonight. We saw Eckus drive up there around him, as did Zane Smith. I think Moffatt's got a real fast truck, so this is going to be a good race to the end.
Do we think Eckus, so as good as his truck has been, maybe he pits right here? Maybe he says, I can beat Kyle Busch. We're going to go ahead and try it.
Stay out.
No, he's going to do it.
Oh, but look at the takers that are staying out.
So Eckus leading the way with Kyle Busch right behind him, and that's Zane Smith. Justin Haley has come as well.
I like it, don't you, Regan?
I love this call, especially for Eckus and Zane Smith. They've got fast trucks. They're saying, we want to go beat the best. We want to beat Kyle Busch tonight.
We want to go head-to-head, have the same track position he has, and give us a chance to win this race.
Alan?
And Michael, you called the strategy perfect for Kyle Busch. Why not come in? He says it's just a little tight when he gets off the corner. When he's coming off at 2 and 4, he wants to get on the gas a little faster. 4 tires and a small adjustment for Kyle Busch, trying to get the lead once again.
Eckus just ahead of Kyle as they exit pit road. Zane Smith is there as well. Smith, a little cleaner stop this time around. Had a tough pit stop at the end of stage 1 and lost multiple positions, but has raced his way back up to the front as you see those who stayed out. Brett Moffatt, the 23, Ben Rhodes, the 99, Tyler Ankrum, the 26. There's Crafton, Derrick Krauss. Some good trucks, Truex in the 40.
And there's Sheldon Creed. That didn't work out great for him because he's still trapped 2 laps down, just trying to find a way out of this hole he's dug himself into.
It just continues. You know, every time he thinks he's going to catch a break, it doesn't happen tonight. I'm pulling for Sheldon. I want to see him get back on the lead lap as fast as he's been.
I know, I am too.
Well, isn't that the way it just works sometimes? Some nights you just cannot catch one. Sun's starting to set a little bit. It was interesting to hear that radio a little while ago about the changing track temperatures. You heard Danny Stockman and Kyle Busch discuss the falling temperature. It's dropped down from 92 degrees at the start of the race down to about 88 right now. 4 degrees doesn't sound like much, but the track temperature can change more considerably as we get a little closer to sunset.
Yeah, when that sun goes behind the grandstands, that asphalt starts cooling off in a hurry, and you can see the whole turns 1 and 2 are shaded there. That'll help the grip of these trucks.
You know, something else we got to think about on this restart as well for the guys that did pit. This could be the most dangerous moment of the race for them. Now they're on fresh tires. They got trucks that are on older tires that are going to be battling for stage points in front of them. They don't have to pass these guys. They know they're going to get a free pass when this next caution comes out, so you got to protect your equipment right here. You got to protect your tires as well throughout this part of the run.
How about the 88 of Crafton, Alan?
Yeah, well, lucky for them, they're in position to get some stage points right now. What's unlucky is they've already had to come down and change the battery once. The issue for them, the alternator, it's not charging any of the electronics in there, so they think they're going to have to come down and change the battery at some point again in this race. But with everyone coming in, they will salvage some stage points. Crew Chief Junior joining us says, we better go win this damn stage right now.
Well, if they get some stage points here, that will be helpful for them as they sit outside the cut line as far as the playoff standings are concerned. But if they have to change that battery, they're sure to lose spots from the time that's going to take on pit road.
That's what you got to get them right now.
Yep.
You know, they need these points. We talked about the peril he's in when it comes to racing for a championship later in the season. He's got to get whatever he can right now, knowing he's going to give up some later.
And take this stage break that's coming here in 3 laps as your opportunity to change that battery again.
They get the green. There will be just 2 to go in stage 2. Ben Rhodes on the bottom and Brett Moffatt up top.
3 wide already into turn 1. Christian Eckus up top grabs a spot or 2.
No sooner did I say that he should be a little bit cautious here than he went 3 wide and said, I'm going to go ahead and get some stage points instead.
What about Matt Crafton? Nice run off turn 2. He's going to drive right up on the back of our leader, Brett Moffatt.
Eckus taking a look down on the bottom, thought about 3 wide and then decided otherwise. Ben Rhodes kind of closed the door on him in that 99 truck.
What about the 02, that white truck up on top? Tate Fogelman racing for a top 5 spot here in Texas. This is the strongest we've seen this young man all year long.
Final lap in stage 2. Brett Moffatt leads Matt Crafton with Tyler Ankrum, Ben Rhodes, and Fogelman in the top 5. And now Krauss and Fogelman get together.
That's a shame. Krauss just got loose down on the inside and took Tate out.
And that all started actually back in turn 1. Michael, Tate Fogelman got a little bit loose earlier than that, which allowed Derrick Krauss to get to his quarter panel. And as Tate Fogelman tried to bring the car back down the racetrack, there wasn't enough room for the 2 of them there. That you saw Derrick Krauss try to stay off him.
So as the caution comes out, Brett Moffatt will be the stage 2 winner. First stage win and playoff point of the season for Moffatt.
That's a sigh of relief for that
Absolutely.
team. Brett's saying, I knew we had something for him tonight. Talked to him earlier today, and he said, we're going to be good. I don't know what he was basing that on, Regan, because there's no practice there. I guess just optimism, knowing that you're in a good spot with your team and looking forward to racing tonight.
Well, it is unfortunate for Fogelman as he makes his way to pit road with some pretty significant damage.
You said it, Regan. He got loose right there, and momentum on Krauss just ran him into the side of Fogelman. Unfortunately for Tate, he goes around, but man, what a save by Krauss in the 19 truck. He got in a bind, made contact with another truck, and instead of wrecking them both, unfortunately for Tate, he's the one that got the short end of the stick.
A little contact there from the right rear of Krauss as well. How about the onboard look from the 16 of Austin Hill? That one could have very easily collected many trucks. Instead, Tate Fogelman suffers the most damage. Brett Moffatt wins stage 2 at Texas. You see the points earned through 2 stages tonight for our championship contenders. Brett Moffatt and Tyler Ankrum leading the way, trying to pad their position in the playoff standings. Matt Crafton with 12 much-needed points tonight, but you don't see Stuart Friesen on that list, and Friesen's another one of those drivers that needs some points.
Friesen's been outside the top 15 most all race long, Vince, and currently riding 18th, so he'll need some major adjustments on this pit stop.
There have been some drivers that we expected to be better tonight, frankly, than what we've seen. We talked about Austin Hill a little bit earlier. Grant Enfinger on that list. Friesen, of course.
Yeah, and I think Friesen's the one that really sticks out to me. If you look at his performance last year at Texas, both races had an opportunity to win and was extremely fast, if not the fastest truck, in particular the second race at Texas, fastest truck on the track towards the end of that race. And I don't know what's going on there for those guys, and I'm sure they're working just as hard as anybody to figure it out. We know they know how to go fast. It's just a matter of piecing it back together.
See Halmar for Hunger on the side of that truck, raising money for food banks all up and down the East Coast. Here's the strategy play, guys. A lot of trucks staying out on the racetrack. You see Friesen in that 52 go by there. He will stay out and gain that track position.
There's Moffatt, Alan.
Yeah, great run for him tonight. They think as the track cools off, that it will come to them. The night will get even better. 4 tires, an adjustment for them. Middle of your screen is teammate Tyler Anker, and he says, don't touch it. No changes. 4 tires for the 26. And on the bottom of your screen, the 99 of Ben Rhodes. He says the truck right now has too much grip. So they're making an adjustment and putting 4 new ones on there, guys.
Well, you don't hear that very often, do you? Too much grip? Normally you hear drivers screaming for it.
I've driven race cars since I was 4 years old, and I don't think I've ever said that.
Every now and then, one end will have more grip than it needs, but never overall too much. You can see under the hood there for Austin Hill, this truck hasn't been running at all like we thought it would tonight. They must have made an adjustment there.
Yeah, Hill. It's not often you see his team running 15th or worse. Hey, next week, NASCAR's Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series will make a little series history. It'll be the first time ever the series has run on back-to-back nights, and we'll do it at Kansas Speedway. Friday, the coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern Time. We'll back it up and do it again Saturday afternoon. Our playoff standings, there's been a little bit of a shakeup with that problem that Johnny Sauter had. Sauter with the DNF tonight, so he drops from 10th to 12th as it currently stands, and Matt Crafton has moved up into the picture.
I'll tell you, Regan, you know this, we've lived it our whole lives. You'll spin your head out of control looking at those numbers and looking at those points thinking, what do I got to do? How am I going to get there? It's so frustrating when you have a night like Johnny Sauter has had.
Even more frustrating when Johnny actually has had a lot more points than that this year. Unfortunately, some of them taken away as the year's gone on due to penalties.
Speaking of DQ, getting ready for this restart here with 80 to go, 86, 80 laps left. Zane Smith on the outside and Christian Eckus inside.
What about Kyle Busch? He's got a hold to the back bumper of Ross Chastain in that 42 truck, and Ross uses that push from Kyle to close right up on the back bumper of Christian Eckus off turn 2.
Every time Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch get together on the racetrack, it's exciting and sparks seem to fly. So wouldn't mind seeing those guys side by side as Zane Smith trying to get alongside of Ross Chastain right now.
See Justin Haley in that 24 truck. 5th back, black truck with the yellow across the hood. Former winner here at Texas.
And there's Rafael Lessard too.
Yep.
Vince back there in the Ford truck. You can see on the right of the screen. He's making his way up inside the top 10.
Lessard doesn't have a top 10 this season, so that would be a huge result for him if he could finish it off. The rookie from Canada. Right now, they're all chasing his teammate in that 18 of Eckus as
Chastain had to get away from him
way
there.
up the track.
Got loose down in the corner. Battled to keep it under control. Tom Majeski and his teammate there in the 45 goes by.
And I assure you, that was a huge save for Ross Chastain right there. We saw that truck bobble around just a little bit and shoot up the racetrack. He had his hands very full.
Watch him here. Chastain in that white 42 truck with Kyle Busch down below and Justin Haley getting by there as well.
Just bobbles ever so slightly, corrects it, and man, then you're just holding on.
And it looked like it coincided with the bump in the racetrack right there, Michael. As that hit that bump, that truck took off on him. And at 180 miles an hour, when you're loaded into the corner, compressed down in the seat, that is not a good feeling for the driver.
For those Tate Fogelman fans out there, we saw Tate involved in that incident with Derrick Krauss earlier, and Fogelman was taken to the infield care center. He has been checked and released.
I just want to make it clear, Vince, just because I was talking so good about Tate right before he crashed, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Well, I think there's some debate about that. You jinxed him.
He didn't even make it a corner after you talked good about him before it happened, Michael.
He was doing an awesome job. Oh, trouble.
Brennan Poole.
He's going to go into the outside wall.
Oh, Chastain narrowly avoids him. Poole trying to get down to the bottom and out of the way, and successfully does so.
He was running in the top 10. That red, remember everyone deployed truck, has had some great speed this year again tonight, and unfortunately into the wall he went.
Eckus and Busch continue to run 1-2. Christian Eckus, the rookie, here for the first time. They did test here in March, but this is his first time racing here at Texas Motor Speedway in any type of vehicle, and he is out front leading the boss.
We can tell that the pay window is getting ready to open. Things are getting more aggressive. These guys are using the bumper to push up or push down the straightaways more, and we see guys making moves that maybe they weren't making earlier in the race on the door of other trucks.
Derrick Krauss in that 19 trying to move his way up into the top 15. That's Ross Chastain for that 15th position.
There comes Austin Wayne Self. Austin's on the outside in the 22 truck, showing some pretty good speed, along with Ryan Truex down on the bottom in that 40.
Big race for Self. He's a Texas native.
Rafael there in the 4 on the inside of Grant Enfinger. That's a battle for 6, and this is the battle for the lead.
Christian Eckus still trying to hold off the boss, Kyle Busch. Eckus, one of the challenges has been adapting to the mile-and-a-half tracks and all the things, the challenges that come with it, aero-wise and otherwise. And all the pieces of the puzzle are there. It's just putting them together, and Eckus hasn't really been able to do that this season. He's had some really good runs, but they haven't put it all together on the same night to get that win. Right now, he's challenging for that first victory as he tries to hold off Kyle Busch, and now Zane Smith into the mix.
I think Kyle maybe tried that higher line because he saw that black truck of Zane Smith coming. He said, I better get on with the program, but Christian did a nice job throwing the block there, holding the lead.
Now we see Kyle come back and try the bottom instead, but just not quite able to get his truck to stick down there yet. You would think as the racetrack cools off, that bottom lane would become better and better because it gains grip, and it's the shorter way around the racetrack. I think in turns 3 and 4, that's the case right now. Turns 1 and 2, it's not quite there yet.
How about radio from the 18 of Eckus?
Just keep running second lane. Don't let him base you into. He's going to fake you bottom and then switch you up.
Yeah, that's what he's going to pull the old switcher on you. You got to be ready for that. Spotter's getting him all geared up.
Well, you know, the best part about that, though, is spotting for Christian Eckus is Tony Hirschman, who spots for Kyle Busch on Sundays. He knows Kyle Busch's moves, so that's great information from him right there.
Zane got there, but now has lost a few truck links to the Kyle Busch Motorsports duo ahead.
Still, the first 3 covered by a half a second. And then it's a little further back to Justin Haley in 4th. Going to take a break, but you will not miss a thing. Going to keep on trucking from Texas Motor Speedway. Christian Eckus continues to lead. Zane Smith has taken over second. You saw while we were in commercial as Kyle Busch tried to make it. Oh, how about Zane Smith with the big wiggle and saved it, and he's going to lose second place, but somehow kept that out of the wall. Wow. Kyle Busch had a similar incident, not quite as big as that, but watch Kyle on the bottom go for the lead here against Eckus on the right-hand side of the screen.
Just pushes up ever so slightly, had to come out of the gas, and that allowed Zane Smith to take the spot away. You could see Regan right there, the nose just bounces up. How rough is that corner? You've been on this track lately.
Yeah, that corner is very rough right there, and it's almost like a washboard, but we've been noticing this out of Kyle Busch's truck. Every time he gets close to the truck in front of him, that thing starts to porpoise up and down, and as you're in the car or in the truck, that is not a good feeling when that happens.
Radio from the 51.
Gets to the bump a little tight, and it just takes off over the bump. Can't hold the front tires.
You heard it just takes off when you get over those bumps.
Man, it looked, you could see him struggling with it as well, the way that truck was buffeting over that area down in turn 4.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part at Texas, once it starts to lose the front tires on exit right there, there's nothing you can do. If you lift off the gas, it actually wants to go to the wall quicker. But at the same time, you know that your truck is going straight towards the wall right there. You're turning more steering wheel to it. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So by instinct, you want to lift off at that moment. And you know that it's going to compound the problem you've already got, unfortunately.
You see lap 107, 60 to go. Kyle Busch trails Christian Eckus. I was talking with Kyle earlier this week about Eckus, and he said he feels like he's got all the ability. He just has to be able to put it together, and he's certainly showing that he can do it tonight. Can he finish the job? That's the question. And Kyle, as the team owner, think, well, you'd give Eckus a little bit of a break, being, you know, he's within a set. No. And Kyle said, he said, when I put that helmet on, I'm the driver. I am out there to win the race. Austin Hill coming to pit road after looked like a little smoke that was coming out of the 16. Boy, it's been a tough night, a rare tough night for that 16 group.
A lot of pace for the 16 truck all year long. He's done a great job. Like I said, nearly won Atlanta, but tonight I think the engine has gone away on the 16 truck.
You know, there's got to be a little urgency for Kyle Busch right now to go ahead and try and get this lead and get whatever air he can on the nose of that truck, because you see Zane Smith closing back in on him right now. I think he knows that if Zane Smith gets back there, Zane Smith has the best truck right now. He wants to control the race, so he's going to do everything he can at this moment to get by his young driver.
And another thing you got to think about is if we do run out to a green flag pit stop, advantage Kyle Busch. He's just been in this position 100 times. He knows how to push it, get to that pit road speed line better than the competitors. So what these young racers need is a chance to go to pit road under caution, because I'm afraid Kyle will really put it on them if we come to pit road under green.
Well, and that's where the notebook comes in hand, Michael. When you get done running a race here, Kyle Busch will go back and he'll say, you know what, there was this mark on the wall. That's where I hit the brakes when I want to get into the pit stall. He probably has shared that with his other young drivers like Christian Eckus. Unfortunately, until you do it for the first time, you can't experience, you can't know what's going to happen when you do that.
They will have to pit one more time for sure, and the window not quite open yet, but should be here in about the next 10 laps.
I like what Eckus is doing in that 18 truck. He knows if he runs that line, he's right on the edge of the traction compound. If he runs that line and doesn't make a mistake, Kyle hasn't shown the speed to be able to pass him.
How about Matt Crafton in the 88? Alan?
Yeah, he's up 8 spots since the restart, just picking up another one past Todd Gilliland right there. Remember, they can't lose a track position because they have to come in and change batteries with that alternator issue. I just went and asked the crew. They're happy with how they're running, of course. And I said, can the battery make it to the end? And they just had their fingers crossed, didn't say a word to me.
That usually means they have no idea, right? They are hoping. And as Mike likes to say, hope is not a strategy, or not a very good one.
It is one.
It is a strategy, just not one you want.
It's a bad one.
Christian Eckus continues to lead Kyle Busch. The most laps Eckus has led in a race this season, by the way. He's been out front for 32 laps.
Let's follow the story of Sheldon Creed. It's been quite the evening for this young man. Led early, had a flat tire, still 2 laps down, struggling to try to get back in contention.
Getting close to the final 50 of the night. Eckus trying to win his first. 19-year-old Christian Eckus leads here at Texas with just under 50 to go. Kyle Busch, the team owner, is chasing. Busch has led 40 laps. Eckus has led 38. Those two have been the class of the field, along with Zane Smith, who has been strong up front at times tonight.
How cool is that? You got Eckus, he hasn't won. 19. You got Zane Smith, 21. He hasn't won. Sandwiched between those two is Kyle Busch. He's won about every race he's been in the Truck Series. This is what the series is all about, though. These kids making a name for themselves, getting these chances and taking advantage of them.
Kyle continuing to try and close up on his driver Christian Eckus right here, and we see Kyle's now gone back to the top side of the racetrack and trying to get to the outside, but I can't imagine after what we heard from spotter Tony Hirschman that Christian Eckus is going to let that happen. He's got to keep that truck in the lane that he's in right now and let Kyle make the move on the bottom.
And since Hirschman told him that, he has not moved it. I mean, he has ran that same line lap after lap after lap.
And if you got to question how hard Kyle is driving right now, he was trying to get his driver loose right there. He wants that position a lot.
And remember, if we do come to pit road under green flag conditions, how experience can play into getting on and off pit road, gaining time. It'll be fun to watch how the kids, how Eckus and Zane Smith match up against the veterans. Kyle Busch, Brett Moffatt in fourth. Can they make ground up on these young kids?
They're in the pit window, so if by chance a caution comes out, certainly everybody comes, but we've had long green flag runs tonight, and a green flag pit stop would put these crews to the test.
You know what I love, Regan? A lot of times when we have Kyle Busch in the race and we have a long green flag run, Kyle Busch is long gone. And that's certainly not the case tonight. Eckus is pulling out on Kyle, and Zane Smith is gaining from behind.
And I really thought Zane Smith, after he had that bobble, would catch back up to these guys quicker. He did immediately for a few laps there, and since then he's kind of fallen off just a little bit. I almost have to wonder if maybe he doesn't try something on this final pit stop, maybe a little two-tire gamble perhaps, if it opens up the possibility.
You see on the pylon on the left-hand side of the screen the laps in which these drivers most recently pitted. And the 21 of Zane Smith is on his way to pit road.
You called it, Regan. They said they got to do something. They've fallen behind, and now they're going to come. Plus, he's got looks like a right rear flat.
Definitely a flat right rear, and this would lead me to believe this is not going to be any sort of a gamble. It's going to be a standard four-tire stop here because of when he had to pit.
Zane Smith has led 26 laps tonight.
So impressive, Vince. He really does a nice job behind the wheel of this 21 La Paz Margarita Mix truck.
For GMS Racing and Bono Mannion, the crew chief. Bono says that Zane is like a veteran. He's only 21 and a rookie in the series, but he carries himself like a much more experienced racer, and I wouldn't be surprised, and this team certainly wouldn't be surprised if he would be a winner yet this season, as you see Enfinger finishing up his stop and Stuart Friesen on pit road as well.
Friesen had driven into the top 10. Benson was running some pretty fast lap times, so they made that number 52 truck better. Adjustments have worked well for this team, gaining speed all night long.
Eckus by 0.6 of a second now, the leader over Kyle Busch. Ty Majeski is in.
And we see this so often. Once that first truck pits, even though they pitted because they had a flat tire, it draws everybody else to pit road almost immediately because you can't afford to be out there with old tires when somebody else has new tires.
Justin Haley, a three-time winner in the Truck Series, including the victory here in 2018 when Gilliland ran out of fuel and Justin took the lead and the victory. Brett Moffatt now on pit road. We've seen Moffatt run strong tonight, maybe his best race of the season.
You see how he slid straight to a stop, Vince. That really helps the choreography of the pit crew. If that truck stops dead on the spot, then that lets the crew do their job better, more efficiently, and that could be the difference in, heck, a half a straightaway at times. Two tires there for Todd Gilliland, a little strategy play for that team.
Just enough fuel to get them to the end. They figured that they could take the risk and gain some seconds on pit road there.
Ben Rhodes Second last week at Kentucky.
He's coming to pit road. Crew Chief Matt Noyce saying it's time to do it. I talked earlier about the veteran Kyle Busch having a bit of an advantage when they come to pit road. Well, earlier today in the Xfinity race, he had an advantage because he sped. He went faster than the time would allow, and that cost him. So what will he do here?
Well, we see Christian Eckus slowly starting to edge out in front of him. Every 1/10 of a second that Christian Eckus can put between himself and Kyle Busch, that puts more pressure on Kyle. As we see him smoking the tires, he's going to have to get woed up here.
What do you think of some of these 2-tire calls we've seen, Mike?
I like it because you can get less fuel. He'll only have to get 4, though, because he slid that left front. This will be a 4-tire stop or he's going to have issues.
So he was about 6 to 7/10 of a second behind Eckus when he headed for pit road. Oh, did he miss the box, or he started to go into the wrong pit box?
Tough start there for Kyle Busch. He says he needs longevity in his truck. He burned up the front tires trying to chase Christian Eckus down, and it just got far too tight. He's asking for an adjustment and 4 tires to get the lead back.
First of all, he smoked the tires coming to pit road, then he almost got in the wrong box, but hopefully he didn't speed. We'll see how this all works out. That did not look like the veteran that we're used to seeing, huh, Regan?
That just goes to show that when you see so many different signs, you can get mixed up eventually.
Watch Kyle. Looks he's going to one of the other KB. Oh, he's looking at the 18 sign. He's looking at the 18 sign. That's his cup number, of course. And then, oops, wrong one.
I'll go to this one up here. These guys look more ready.
The guys in the 18 box were going, no, we're not going to.
There's Eckus on pit road. Kyle down the front straightaway. Our leader's in the pit, getting his service.
Allen?
No changes, guys, for the 18 of Christian Eckus. We saw him drive some of the smoothest laps we've seen all season. 4 tires and fuel. They just want him to make no mistakes right now on pit road and get out and get this victory.
Well, he was on his way to victory, Allen, at Pocono, coming through the tunnel turn, cut a right rear and crashed, but he was the man at Pocono. There goes Eckus on the track. Here comes Matt Crafton, who's not pitted yet. He's the leader. Tyler Ankrum rides second. He's on pit road now.
And then it'll recycle back to Kyle Busch and Christian Eckus battling for the lead again.
See if indeed.
And we see Kyle Busch go to the outside of Matt Crafton right there, so that means that he did indeed get ahead of Christian Eckus on that pit cycle. That's that experience that we talk about, him being able to get on pit road just a little bit better.
It doesn't have to be pretty to be efficient. You know?
Kyle proved that, right?
He was going as fast as possible, and he got slowed down to pit road speed. Almost went in the wrong pit box, but that's what I was talking about. He took advantage of his experience and his knowledge to gain this lead.
I think Junior Joyner's crew there on the 88 team, they have salvaged something tonight because they've had issues, battery issues, they've had to change, but they have still managed to put up some good numbers, get some stage points, get themselves inside that playoff cut line.
And we saw during that pit stop, they handed Matt Crafton another bag of ice, so that would lead me to believe he still does not have any of the fans on in there. He is going to be a tired race car driver when this is over.
So how about Kyle Busch? When he came to pit road for his pit stop, he was almost 7/10 of a second behind Eckus.
Trouble,
and
Vince.
there is Zane Smith has gotten into the wall.
That's pretty hard damage, it looks like, too.
Green still out. Smith making his way to pit road. Thought for a while Smith would be a contender to win tonight, but this is going to put his chances to rest, I'm sure.
You just got to wonder. We know he had that right rear tire go down earlier, and you see another
It's
one that's
flat
down
again.
right now. I wonder if he's had something rubbing, maybe a little wall contact prior to that even, that caused these tires to keep going down. But as good as that truck was, hard to believe that it just went into turn 1 and lost it like that.
As I was saying before Zane Smith got into the wall, Kyle was about 7/10 behind Eckus as Kyle came to pit road, and now after that pit stop transaction, 3-second advantage.
I was afraid of that, Vince.
The Gander Trucks at Texas. Kyle Busch out front in Texas, the Gander RV and Outdoors Series. Kyle, the all-time wins leader, and he has taken the lead on a exchange of pit stops, and it was interesting. He came to pit road almost 0.7 of a second behind his teammate Christian Eckus, and it looked like a pretty ugly venture down pit road as you see him. Watch how, first of all, he'll light him up coming to the line to get down to pit road speed, and then
that's what you call maximizing, right, Regan? I mean, he drove as hard as he could to that line, and he got on the brakes as hard as he could. It slid, but then his adventure just was beginning.
Almost goes into the wrong. He sees the 18 sign. Oh, no, I'm not 18 in this. I'm 51. I got to come down to my stuff. But it's not the time spent in the box so much. The in laps and the out laps, right?
In particular, when we have green flag stops, those 2 laps are absolutely critical. When you're coming into the pits, we see him lock it up right there. To Kyle, that was perfectly normal. He knew what he was doing. He was optimizing it. They knew they were going to take 4 tires there, so he didn't care about that lockup. He got it down to pit road speed. But in particular, when he exited pit road on the bottom of the racetrack right there, you can make up just as much time exiting if you do it right as you can even getting into the corner or into the pits.
And you know, if you think about it, Regan, if your pit crew has a great stop compared to the competition, you might beat them a half second. You might beat them a second even if it's a perfect stop. But when you come into pit road from 180 miles an hour and try to accelerate out, as we saw, 2 or 3 seconds can be gained there.
Veteran drivers love green flag pit stops for that reason, because they know they can make a huge difference and they can help their pit crew out even more. Yellow flag stops, it's all about the pit crews. That's what's most important.
Well, Kyle Busch continues to stretch that advantage on Christian Eckus now by more than 4 seconds. And if you're just tuning into the race day, this is the second race of the day here at Texas Motor Speedway. The Xfinity Series ran earlier today, and Kyle Busch took the checkered flag first in that race as well, and then failed post-race tech. And the race win was given to Austin Cindric as we have now reached our Gander RV Outdoors 20 to go. So Kyle, sure, he's got a little extra motivation to put this one in the win column after having the earlier win taken away from him this afternoon.
Austin Self there in the 22, you said it, Texas native. He goes a second lap down, running in the 16th position. So this long green flag run has taken a lot of the contenders off the lead lap. Good battle here inside the top 10. Todd Gilliland trying to make the move on Ben Rhodes.
And Todd Gilliland, let's not forget, this is a team that tried the 2 tires. He pitted from the 8th position, takes 2 tires. He's currently running in 6th with about a 5-second gap to the 7th place. So that's worked out well for him so far, and he's putting pressure on to try and get back into the top 5 even.
Really been impressed with what Gilliland and crew chief Chris Lawson have done with that Front Row Motorsports group. They have run top 10 the last 4 races and putting another one together tonight as you see Matt Crafton inside the top 5. He is 4th, and his crew chief, longtime crew chief Junior Joyner.
Vince, I've been watching the board here, and Matt Crafton is somebody that desperately wants a caution right now. I know he's had the battery problems all night long. He has consistently been the quickest truck on the racetrack here for the past 5 or 6 laps. A lot of speed in that truck. He's been matching what Kyle Busch is doing out front.
And that's a great sign for this team that last week at Kentucky finished in the 3rd position. Not a lot to hang their hat on in the 2020 season until lately, but a good strong run again here tonight.
Crafton, the defending series champion, 3-time champion, and he's got a couple of Texas trophies.
And he's come from the back twice tonight. 2 battery changes.
Always easy to spot. Neon yellow 88 for Matt Crafton.
Menards has been his partner for a long time. John Menard is a great friend of this sport, and that's a beautiful Menards truck that Matt Crafton gets to pilot.
Chi-Chi's on the hood tonight. Christian Eckus has now dropped back almost 4 seconds behind Kyle Busch. Alan?
Yeah, and that gap is closing just a little bit, and they're trying to keep his head about the driver. They're just telling him focus, and they just got the caution that they wanted, guys.
Hey, They got the caution that they wanted, and I got the caution I wanted. I want to stack this thing up. Oh, no, but it isn't what Todd Gilliland wanted for sure.
Well, we just talked about the fact that he was working on his 5th straight top 10. That's not going to come to fruition.
Man, he was running inside the top 10 in the 6th position. A lot of speed, but that is a hard hit.
And we saw him and Ben Rhodes battling for that 5th place there just a couple laps ago. And
we pointed out he took 2 tires. Hopefully he didn't lose a tire to cause all this mess.
I think it would be tough for us to figure it out right now based on how that truck looks.
Racing with the 99 of Rhodes. Did they have some contact?
Oh, they both did.
Be curious to see what happened further back in the corner. We see the end result. Ben Rhodes not very happy when they got on the straightaway there, it appeared, after they both went to the wall.
Hard hit for Gilliland on that inside wall as well.
Looked like maybe Gilliland thought he was clear, maybe, Regan, and moved up a bit, and Ben was there and took them both into the wall.
And once Todd's truck broke traction, he was along for the ride. There was nothing he could do, and as you said, it took them both to the wall. And then Ben Rhodes was not happy about that, as he shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think Rhodes finished him off after that initial contact. And may I update Sheldon Creed, Vince? He's
You
down
may, yes.
3 laps down. Still got a fast truck and just keeps getting further behind every lap we run.
Sheldon Creed started on the pole. Of course, last week's winner at Kentucky. And Creed started on the pole but had a flat early. There you see him 3rd in line in that number 2 truck. Had a flat tire early and fell a couple of laps down during that green flag stop.
Isn't that just how it goes sometimes? You know, you're leading the race, have a flat tire, and no matter how fast you are, there you see Sheldon's night. It's just been miserable.
Just hasn't caught the brake.
Well,
a couple of opportunities.
And the opportunity we thought he would have didn't work out at the end of stage 2.
Under caution at Texas. Looks like we're going to have a good old-fashioned Texas shootout when we come back. Big weekend for the NHRA from Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. Qualifying coming up next right here on FS1, and then another round of qualifying tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, and final eliminations at noon tomorrow, noon Eastern on Fox. Got an exciting finish shaping up here at Texas Motor Speedway. Going to have a restart. Kyle Busch is out front and had this to say on the radio.
There's not two grooves, it's one groove bottom of the spray.
Obviously, you're probably in the gas so much already, so it's not like it's hard to make a mistake, right?
I mean, it's pretty easy to make one when you're behind a guy. You know, like I made one under the 18 and then the 21 made one. So I guess if you're out front controlling the air, you got a better shot at it.
Which makes it really important to get the better of this restart, right?
And that information is so valuable for that crew chief, the team. You know, he's making notes. Kyle Busch is out front, and the master is telling the team what's going on and why things are happening the way they are on the track.
Yeah, and Eckus does have an opportunity here. If he can get the restart of his life, maybe get a little bit of help from Brett Moffatt, who's going to start in third behind him, get in front of Kyle Busch as they go into turn one and clear him. That is going to be his ticket to winning this race. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for him to find a way around Kyle Busch, because Kyle's going to do exactly what Christian did to him and force him go to the bottom if that happens. So we'll have to see how the help works out in row two for these guys in row one, and who can maybe have the advantage coming off of turn two.
Yeah, Brett Moffatt there in row two on the inside, and Matt Crafton on the outside. Both drivers looking for their first wins of the season. And how many times this year have we seen row two sneak through there and come out with the trophy? The green is out, 10 to go at Texas.
Good start by Eckus on the bottom. Kyle's not going to be able to clear him. Didn't get much of a push from Moffatt, but I like that short way around the bottom here in turns 1 and 2 for sure.
On the backstretch, side by side, Kyle on the outside, Eckus inside.
And this is something we didn't see much of on the previous restarts. A lot of side drafting with the leaders. Kyle knows how important this is to get out front here, and Christian's doing a nice job of hanging with him so far.
Christian's got to be careful down there, though, Regan. You get loose easy on the bottom, slide up into your competitor. It can happen in a hurry.
Still no edge. The 18 and the 51 battling for the lead with 9 to go. Matt Crafton has taken over third, and he's right there in position. Brett Moffatt pulling up to fourth. Going to challenge Crafton.
Oh, Kyle swings a little high. Eckus is able to take advantage of it, but there's the side draft.
Kyle's going to pull right back up next to him. Still no advantage for the lead.
How good is this racing we're seeing right now at the front of this? This is why we watch racing.
Oh, Kyle got a great run off that corner and takes the lead from Eckus. Can Eckus come back and challenge?
What about our man Stuart Friesen? He's up to the 4th position there, hitting on the back door of Matt Crafton.
The top of the show, we asked who can beat Kyle Busch tonight, and Christian Eckus has certainly given it his best shot. Is he going to have another opportunity to make a run at the boss? A 1/10 of a second separating the two with 7 to go.
I can say this: Kyle has not done anything to beat themselves tonight, and he's very difficult to get in front of if that's not the case.
But I tell you, he's got to be proud of that 19-year-old kid driving his truck that's right behind him. Christian Eckus has done a great job. Just couldn't quite close the deal versus Kyle on this restart, but man, really solid all night long.
Well, I got to believe that when we talked to hear from Eckus at the end of the race tonight, he's going to talk about how invaluable the experience has been to race with Kyle at the front throughout the course of the night tonight. 5 laps remaining as they cross the line. Kyle Busch in first and Christian Eckus right behind him. Matt Crafton, Stuart Friesen, Brett Moffatt, the top 5. It's been this is going to be a big result for Friesen tonight. By far, his best finish of the evening, of the season.
Yeah, we highlighted them earlier in the race that they needed this to happen, and it can be something small like this, just that one confidence boost for the entire team that gets you back on your game and gets you back where you need to be.
He's got a couple of other top 10s, but they haven't been races where you felt like he's been really competitive. And you see him, he's got some pace right now as he follows Crafton, hopes to challenge Crafton for that 3rd spot.
The same can be said for Moffatt. A couple of strong finishes, Vince, but not the season he's looking for. But tonight, all night long, inside the top 5.
Kyle has stretched it out to about 4/10 of a second now, and as he crosses the line, there will be 3 to go. Christian Eckus, the 19-year-old, still seeking his first series win, has Rudy Fugle as his crew chief, and so many drivers have made their way at KBM with Rudy on top of the box, and you get the feeling it's not a matter of if Eckus will win, it's when will he get that first win. And it looked for a while tonight that maybe this was going to be the night.
You're just hoping for a mistake. If you're Christian Eckus, just slip one tire, Kyle. Give me one more chance.
Ross Chastain for 10th on Derrick Krauss. You saw that move, and Kyle in the final couple of laps here doesn't make many mistakes, that's for sure.
I was about to say, if you're waiting for Kyle Busch to make the mistake, that's a rare thing to have happen when he's out front this close to the end of the race.
Crossing the line, 1 to go. The white flag for Kyle Busch. He's the all-time series win leader. He's won 58 times. This would be his 5th win at Texas, and it would be his 3rd straight in the truck here at Texas. He has won his previous 2 starts here at Texas Motor Speedway, including the first race last year, and he's going to do it again. Kyle Busch winning at Texas. It's a 1-2 finish for Kyle Busch Motorsports, with Christian Eckus finishing runner-up. Matt Crafton matching his season best with a 3rd place finish, Friesen his best finish of the season, and Brett Moffatt with his 2nd top 5 of the campaign.
And you got to imagine Kyle Busch, as soon as he can have a conversation with his young driver, Christian Eckus, will be definitely telling him how happy he is with the way he ran tonight.
And when I talked with Kyle this week, this was exactly the kind of performance he was wanting to see. I think the whole organization was wanting to see from Eckus, that consistent beginning to end, green to checkered type of a consistent performance, and showing what the equipment is capable of. And I think he put it together tonight.
Such a familiar scene right here. Kyle Busch at the start-finish line going to get the checkered flag. 2nd time he's done it today, and we'll see if he keeps this one.
We'll see if they let him keep this one. You're right, Regan. There's the fist bump from the flagman.
Well, and if by chance you are just joining us for the day, Kyle did cross the finish line first in the Xfinity Series race earlier, but was DQ'd in post-race tech. And he's moving GOAT out of the way. Our cameraman, he said, I want to get this clean picture here. I want this clean photo before we do the interview. And now Brad can get in there. Alan Cavana down there as well to visit with the race winner, Kyle Busch.
Yeah, getting his helmet and everything off. It's got to be hot after 2 long races. Kyle, sometimes you make it look easy. This time you had to battle your young teammate. Tell me about him in that battle.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Christian? He's getting better each and every week, and every time out, getting that chemistry going more and more with Rudy Fugle and those guys. So real proud of that Safe Flight Tundra running fast and being there to challenge us at the end, but wanted to make sure we went out on a win and got our Cessna Beechcraft Tundra to victory lane. And want to say thanks to Toyota TRD and Credible Bank. And we lost a friend of ours this week, Robert Hamke, who is a super late model chassis builder for years out in North Carolina. And that's now what Rowdy Manufacturing is, essentially. So, real proud to be able to score this win with Rowdy Manufacturing and get Robert a win. And, of course, see if we can't go for another one tomorrow.
Yeah, how do you describe a day like this? You get the Xfinity win, then disqualification. You follow it up with this win. You got to go do it again tomorrow. How do you describe
I don't know.
all this?
Technically, I haven't won yet, so put it over the sticks.
Kyle Busch trying to get another win in the Truck Series. Let's see if it passes tech.
The sticks will tell you if your rear end's too high or low. And
That just shows you the competitor that Kyle is. He's still thinking about what happened earlier today, and you can tell he's still very frustrated about it, as he should be.
That left rear a little too low today in the post-race inspection.
the sticks pointed that out.
Kyle Busch, career win number 59 in the Gander Trucks.